Julie Buskin, Joe, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, Maine, 1996, Maine, Reti Thi. Benton, Arkansas, Maine, Petahui or Wahi Par Apni, Pavarish Hasselki, Apni, Talim Ki Lai Wo, Oklahoma University, II Thi Jahan Wo University, K Golf Course, Maine, Kamkati, Thi Julie Apni, Bachelor's Degree, KO Dance, Maine, Mukamal Khan, K Karib Thi. Wo, Ekamda Ballerina Banachati Thi or College K Bod Bochan KO Dan Sikan K Lai Apna Studio Koln K Irada Rakti Thi. Julie KO Doston Maine Coffee Makbul, Samja Jotatha or Wo Boat, Talented Thi. The 19th of December 1996 Kisham Julie, Niapni Dust, Ryan James, K Sath Gazari, Joe University K Golf Course Main Osk Sath Komkata That Dono Needina K Bod Ek Film Deki or Agel Din Lunch Khan Kaplan Benaya, Julie Roten Badge Ryan K. Grandparents K Gar Say Chali, Gata K Apni, Doston K Sath Milsake, Doston K Sath, USA Monopoly Kila or Christmas Gifts K Tobadelikia, QNK, Agel Din Usay, Apnigar Arkansas Wappas, Yana Tha USN Sab KO, Alvida Kaha Julie Ki Roommate, Megan B Wahan Thi, Julini Megan Sewada, Kia Kasuba Cinco Bahe Uzi Will Rogers Airport Chadega Julie or Megan Ni Rotbar Yanka Faisla Kia Dono Duabajayek Restaurant The Kettle Gai, Wahan Se Nikolka Gas Station, Say Fuel or Cappuccino Lea or 3 Badge, K-Bod Apni Apartment Lot, IT Take, Megan Kasaman Lasaki, Kachta Bod Dono Apartment Say Nikli or Airport Ki Terra Frawana Hui, Jam 4:30 menit Bajeta Airport Ponch Gai, Julie Ni Megan Co-Drop Kia or Megan Ni Deka Ki, Julie Apni Red Eagle Summit Main Wahan Say Nikil Gay, Subah jam 5:30 menit. Baje Julie ke Dublin West Apartments ke Rehaishi, adalah ek aurat ki chik q awasuni, ek shaks ni 911 pa kol ki o kaha kiang, apartment complex ke parking lot sa koi, kovna chiksonaye, wodar k, Mari Bahar Dekni Nahi Nikol Kuch Gontobod Ryan James Julie K. Apartment lunch date K Laya Likan Julie Wahan Nahi Thi, Uski Garibi Gayab Thi. Rian adalah foren uski gumsuji ki report lihwa di Jaldi High Julie ki Woladain B apartment Ponachgay, Joe Arkansas say uski madad ki lae the magar, Wahan police unka intizar car, Rahi Thi Joe unbatai ki Julie Lapeta High, Julie ke la pata, Hon K12 Gonte bod uski loshek le ke kina, say Millie Joe apartment say 15-mile Dortha. USK Hoth shoelaces say Piche band Hugh the Orwo Kama attack Pony Main Thi, Usk Sir Piche. CHK 22 caliber Kigoli Mari Gai Thi, Losh Ke Pas Kachazar Mile Kashayadas Par Lake Parasol Huaho Rate, Main Dulagan K Nakshikada Mile, EK Julie K The Ordusra Shaks Joe Police K Mutabik Kotal Ho, Shakta Tha Footprint Kataj Zi, Simalum Wa, Kadusra Nex Nike Ire Dua Running Shoe, Size 9 K Tha, Julie Key Pink Leotard Joe K JB Initials K Sath The, US Key Pas Mili Jizma, Mardana DNA Tha, Yeah DNA Sample Future Main Advanced Technology K Lai Mefus Ka, Liaga, Autopsy Satastic Hui Kagoli 22 caliber Kithi or Istamal Hui Band, Cost Chisholm Kithi. Police Need Julie K University, K Tamam Doston Say Pucha Likan Koi, AC Malumat Nahi Mili Joe Case, Main Madagar Ho, Julie K Apartment Main Koi Struggle K Nissan Nahi Mile or Gari Biek, Blocked or say Milgay, Car K Ender Laurethi Joe Lay Ki Rate say Mildithi. Joe Investigators caught a G Blogger, Carmain Nakoybal na Fibers na Prince Mile. Julie, Kyphone Kareka Hassel Kiagaya, Jism Du Kols Usk Mod Keyboard Kigaya Thi Ikmausum Kahol or Dustriak Nokabilistamol number Pa. $70,000 QAIN Omrakagaya Likin Koi, Body Breakthrough Nahihoy or Case Kuch Aski Lai Thandahogaya, Via Iki Mahin. Bod ik Shaksni Police say Rabta Kia or Bataya Ki, Usan Lake Ki Karib E Kardeki Thi Joe Julie Ki Gari JC Thi, Joe Usk Samnan Nickel Gi, Thi, USN 5-mile Takas Gari Kapicha, Kia Leakin Driver Rearview Mirror Main Deck Car Gadi Tez Chala Car Bog Gaya Witness Knee Driver, Kachera Deca or Sketch Banwaya Joe Media Main Chalea Gaya, Wo Shaks College Student Lugda Tha, Hispanic Lagback, Lamba Kalabal or Muscular Build, KTA, Magarkoi Pachan Nahipaya, Titikamba Titiklima, Salta Case Koldraha. Fia, Oklahoma County Jail Kiek Female Inmate Ni Letter Lika Jaziyak, 23 Salka Construction. Worker Dennis Sturmer K Zicker Tha Joe Julie K Apartment K Pause Retta Tha or Sketch Say Milta Tha Sturmer Car Criminal Record Nahi Tha Leakin DNA Dean Say in Car Diet Court Order Kia Seri Uska DNA Lia Gaia Joe Crime Scene Kia DNA Say Boat Karib Match Carter Tha Leakin Mu Camel Match Nahi Tha Zli Usay Suspect Nahi Samja Gaia Police Ni Fear Usk by Ki DNA Test Kia Leakin Uska DNA B Match Nahi Hor Fear B Case Fear Say Thanda Ho Gaia Bad Kasmati Say Julie K Walladane Ko the Kabul Kana Pada K Shayad Woan Sof Hota Dekni K Lizinda Naroan Magate Kikard Wale Isbat K Lai Parazam Thake the Nahon Dean Unhon Julie Say Mutalik Tamam Marden Kue DNA Test Kan Ki Koshish Ki Joe Kabi Usk Contact Main A The 200 Say Ziada Marden Ki Samples Lai Gay Leakin Kisi Kue DNA Match Nahi Hua Isa Lagraha Thake Case Kabi Hal Nahi Hoga Julie K Mott Keche Salbod Anthony Castillo Sanchez Namka Ek Odmi Abni Girlfriend Pa Hamla Karn K Ilsam Main Girafta Hua Girafatari Kabad Use DNA Sample Denapat Take Hikit Khan Walla Niask Background Main Dilchaspi Lean Wally Botin Decan Wo Julie K Apartment Say Surf Ek Mile Door Retatha Anthony Kiek Ex-Girlfriend Niapni Diary Dekai Jismus Mahin K Bari Main Likatha Jeb Julie K Dol Huatha Diary Main Likatha K Anthony Ni Usk Lai or Apni Lai Nike Running Shoes Karide Thay Anthony Cash Shoe Size 9 Tha The Bot Sabat Kati Thi Ki Usk Pasas Brand Ki Jute Thay Joe Cattle K Peron Par The Mazid Interesting Bot The Thi Ki Anthony Kiek Ex-Girlfriend Ka Phone Number Julie K Phone Pa Ki Gaik Call K Number Say Surf Ake Digit Fog Thea Joe Mort K Bot Ki Gai Thi Mumkin Thea K Anthony Ni Galti Say Eek Digit Galat Dial Car Dio Ho Anthony Oru Squalit K Garmain 22 Kaliber Kabandukon Sir Diwa Arpargolia Anchalane Q Ada Theory Take a cut main unhoned gase, ek goli hassle kijo usi banduk say Charlie Thijo Julie ko marka usi kotal kia, Gaia tha ise surf chakum. Thijo is chism ki 22 caliber banduk banati thijism goli par the kosnis han hotain ok kekar 2004 main Anthony Sanchez k DNA Julie k leotard par pi gay Madonna, DNA say milguya Anthony aswakt surf 18 sol k the Sockton Wally bot high kiagor usan. Julie K phone pass sign number dial Kia Hota to Wo foreign Pokta Ya Shokta Tha. Anthony Castillo Sanchez KO 2006 main Sazamot Sunai Gi I Leakin March 2023 Takwo Apni Saza K Kilof Appeal Carter Rah Uska Dawa Tha Herka Asal Katil Uska Walit Glenn Sanchez Jin April 2022 main Kudkushi Kali Theorapni Girlfriend Kobataya Tha K Osel main Wo Hai Kadaltha Maga Te Kikot Need the possibility Peho Hai Dekli Theo the Sabut Nahi Miller. Court Ka documents Kamutabik DNA match Kagalat Hone Kahim Khan Bohot Kamhai Caucasians Kalai 1 in 200 quadrillion, African Americans Ki Lai 1 in 20 quintillion, or Southwest Hispanics KIY 1 in 94 quadrillion. Anthony Sanchez Ki the 21st of September 2023 Kohon Ki Tawaku Hai. Jab Taki Kakan, Wallen Kapaz, Ege Barnay, K Lai, Koi Ranahin Thi, Tab Nashville, Tennessee, Kiek Oratni, Police Koek, Mumkin Led D, USN Kaha KUS Pa John Taylor Namki, Odmini Hamla Kieth Is Doran Taylor Ni US Kahatha, Kwo Usk Soth Wohi Keriga, Joe Usen Laura K Soth Kietha, Jab Police Ni Taylor Se Sawa Kia to Usen Hamla Khan Se Inka Kia or Kahaki Laura Ki Bari Main, Ya Se Koitaluk Now He Background Check Se Pata Chalaki. Taylor B. Wahi University Yata Tha Jahan Laura Potithi Wo Olympus Athletic Club or Sparka member Tha Jahan Laura B. Yoti Thi Woas Fraternity K Functions Main B Shamal Hota Tha Jahan Laura Hoti Thi Sab Se Iambot Ya Thi K Taylor US Din University K Karib Tha Jab Laura K K Telhua Taylor Key Girlfriends Kia Sath Uska Rawaya Axer Tashadot Par Mabni Tha FBI Analysts Ni Taylor Key Balin Kamuka Bla Laura Key Gari Main Mile Hugh Balin Se Kia FBI Ni Report DK Gari Se Mile Ball Taylor Key Balin Se Milchulti Hain. Yep. Case close hone Hisa Tha Leakin Tab Mitochondrial DNA testing Abi develop Ho Rahi Thi or Ball Population K Lag Bag 20% Logo and Koho Saktathe Is Lai Ye Sabut Cattle Ko Jerafta Khan K Lai Coffee Masboot Nahi Tha Tekikut Main Taylor Ko Kizibi Jermya Austin Laura Kasath Hone Kase Boot Nahi Mila Crime Scene Pa Mile Marden Kijins Ki Enzim 36-inch or Kamar 30-inch Thi Leakin Taylor Chota Sa Shaks Thur or Jeans Use Fit Nahi 8 Thay Tahkika at Karnwalon Kapaas Dasre Mutaham Dunden Kasiwa Koirasta Nahita Saloon Ke Dauran 100 say ziada mutahamin kajeza lia gaya maga koi feda nahi hua lora kima lorin maki niapni beti ke kabristam par ek wada kia ke wo insaf zuru karwo insaf zurua using malum nahitha ke. Yeah, Kais Mumkin, Hoga Leakin, yeah, Akri.com, Thajo, Wo, Apni, Betty, Kalai Ka, Shakti Thi, Bahutsal Guzar Gajab, Tamadat Aayi, Dan Goodwin, Joe Laura Kadust, Thay or Usk Sothkuch, Rot Pehol movie, Deknigaya Thani, Uski Ma Ko Wadadia Kewo, Cattle Ko, Dundon, Main Madid Karega, Graduation K-Bod Dan, Ni Daily News Journal, Main Police Reporter, Key Job Sharu, Key or Unsolved Cases, Pa Likna Sharu Kia, Jism Laura KK Spitha, Kuchasa, Bod Dan Journalism, Chorkar Police Officer Bangaya Dan Kezi Madari Main Sab Se Pella Cold Case Laura Samankath, USN Sab Sabut Forensic Lab Bej Jahanea DNA Tests Hu, Is Dauran Dan Adalah Ikelit Pet Tawaju Di Jo. 2000 Main Oakland High School ke Ektoli Bilm Sayai, USC in Kahaki, Uskwalid, Ni 1984, Main Ikilaki Ki Yon Lee or Uskilosh Fek di Uskwalid David Patterson the Jiska Police Record Bitha, Maga Jab Dan Nibot Kani Che Tupata Chala K, David Patterson Ma Chukatha. Don Ni Fear Usk Bochan K DNA Test Kawaya Joe Crime Scene K DNA Say Match Nahi Hua, Islai Wo Shaks Malzim Nahitha, Don Ni Fear John Taylor K DNA Test K Natija Bideka Joe Match Nahi Kata, The Don Ni Kuti B DNA Test Karwaya Joe Yusa B, K Say Bahir Raktatha, Dan Ni Apni Tawaju X Shakes Padi, Joe Pelli Te Kikat Main Nazar Say Chupa Raha The David Gilly, Laura Ka High School Boyfriend, Use Pela Osk Stepfather, Kadir Alibiki Wajah Samulzim Nahi Samja Gayata, Likan Dani Ek Gawa Se Malum Kia Joes Alibi Ko Rad Kata Tha, Gawani Bataya Kas Din David Gilini Laura Kigari Chile Theo Ras Saman Ke Karib, High Spot Kia Tha, Jahan Laura Ki Lash Mili Thi, Gawani David Ko Tosfiran K Zeri Pachana or Uskche Pa Komosh, Bajesba Izar Deha. Dan adalah defitki aurat kehilaf tashadutki adat dehi gizm lovra bishamelti. Wo aksar gusaho karlora kasar kokarsku lokersya kisibi karibi chi setakrata. Kabi use mukabi, marda tha. Ekmathaba, uznelora, kadota, antadi, dan koyakin nahi aya kadeviti mijaldi ke sabahir. Kadayagaya, David Laghag 6'2" Lambai Katha or Crime Scene K Jeans You Say Bilkul Fit 8th Dan Ni, Jerry Finley, Crime Scene Reconstructionist, Ki Madit Say Jeans Main Chot, Kun Ki, Dadund, Joe Medium Velocity Impact Spatter, The Joe Pata, Yakasi Muktalif, Sacked Cheese, Ki Zak, Dean Pa, Banti Hain, Kun Ziada Atar Gotni Ka Upar. Tajo is Bodka Sabut, Taka Kadalgutton Kabel Betha Thajab, Wo Laura Ko Maraha Thasabuta Ni, The Tazdik Ki K Jeans Kadal K Thay, DNA Test Ni Bizahia Kia K Jeans, Pajo Kun Thawo Laura Kahai Thadan Ni, David Gili Ko Florida, Main Dund Nikola Jahan Wodu Mataba, Telakshuda Tha or Manatee County Public Works Department Main Com Kata Tha, Uska Police Record Thajism Battery. Burglary Ki Koshish or arrest say Inkar Shamel, Tha. Dan Neos Sawal Kia to David Ni, Fear Inkar Kia Leakin. Aji Bot the Thi Ki Jeans Uskahon Qa Kia Jab Investigators Ni Aspataya Ki Jeans Kamalik Hai Ketelhain to Us in Foreign Wakil Mangwaya Tekakats Main David Gilise Saliva Sample Lia Gaya Jo 31 Mei 2014 DNA Test Ni Sabit Kia K David Woshaks Thajiska DNA Crime Scene Patha or Jin Laura Ki Yang Lee 1984 K Germ K 16th Soljira Pa David Gilly K Ojira Dan Ni Laura Ki Make Sothap Nawada Pura Kia or Laura Ki Mani Apni Bay K Lion Sof Kawada Nibaya Maksad Shayad, Jalang Tha, Agad David Kapaz Laura Nahi Thi Tikisi or Kapaz Binahi Oni Chahi Thi. Jab Laura College Gehi or Naya Duspane to David Ko, The Passand Nahi Tha Wo Aksaruska Pichakata Tha. Laura Kima Ni You Say Restraining Order Lin Kayo Kahamagar Wo Dart Thi Investigators Kamut. David Ni Laura Ko Lovers Lane Layaka Uspar Pat Her Say Sar Par Ba Ba Mara. Kun Jeans Pa Deka 2 Jeans, Utakar Crime Scene Pa Chad Dai, Fia Laura Ki Gori Yuzi Kam Pa Chadni, Gaya Jahan Bard Main Gari Mili. September 2006 Main David Gilly Ka Trial, Hua Jahan Defense Ni, Kaha Ki Crime Scene Pa Dusa Mad, DNA Hai Jo Cattle Ho Shokta Hai Magar, Jury Ni Kisi, or DNA Ko Haki Ki Cattle Nahi Sanja. David Ko Sab Ilzamat, Main Doshi Karad Dia Gaya or Zindagi Barki Saza Sunai Gay. Nabro Leicestershire, England qa ek bahat hai mefus goen hai Joseph ek hai germ ki waja se mashud hai Joe 1983 main huatha 15 Sol ki Lindemon Nabra main reti thi Wo Lutterworth Grammar School or Community College ki Talbot the US ki body bien Susan Mon Nasdu Sol Bari the Unki Ma Kathleen Mon the Joe Apney Shadi ki bod Nabro shift hui the Kathleen Ni 1980 main Edward Eastwood say Shadi ki Jab Susan 14 or Linda 12 Sal Keithy. Linda Ek Memeline Lad ki the Joe Shante Magar Masher the you school pass and I or Wo Doston Kasoth Wakt Guzana enjoy Kati the Linda Ko Najawani ka challenges ka koi Zieda Mazla Nahitha Wo adventure passant Karti the music hairstyles makeup or Captain Say Lagao Rakti the Aga Captain Lai pays com hot to Wo babysitting Karti or Apni Capt Kudabanati the 21st of November 1983 Ko Linda Apni Dust Kagar Chaldi Magarwahan Nahipahunji Osan Apni parents Kathleen or Edward Kayawada Kiatha Katen Bajarat Tagara Wapas Ajayegi Leakin Midnight Tak Wapas Nahi I Pareshan parents Ni Police Kokol Kia or Pori Rot Uski Talush Ki 7 to 20 Suba Ek Hospital Portajab.com Par Yaraha Tha Tua Snack Jizim Deka Pele Use Manakin Samja Wo Linda Ka Jizim Tha Joe Assault or Gutno Say Margay Usk Jeans Utadai Gay Theo Baki Capti Daharot or Fele Way Thay Usk Skarden Main Exgarf Thay Jeez Gutni Main Istamal Kia Goyatha Nabro Kia Logan Ko Yakabar Sankar Bahat Apsos Hua Uskibet Se Chotilatkion Ko Hamese Group Main Chaln Ki Salahiat Digayi Tekiketni Crime Scene Ke Karib Area Main Talashki Leaking Koi Madagar Sabut Nahimi Kuch Dur Hayek Psychiatric Hospital Tha Jahan Selogun Kochek Wak Shiat Cattle Wahan Samarias Ho Magarkoi Sabut Nahimila Autopsy Kadauran Linda Kajism Samardana Diana Mila Jiska Blood Group Ata Joe England Kalagbug Splupersen Marden Main Hotahat Edward Ka Blood Group Muktalif Tha Islayu Se Mutaham Nahi Samjagaya Te Kikot Khan Wala Ni Goin Kihar Garja Karmalumit Ikar Malumat Ikathi Ki Dusri Team Ni Leicestershire Ki Tamam Germ Karnwalan Ki List Bene or Sab Se Sawal Kia K Shakes Ni Police KO8 Badrot K Korib Ex Spiky Head Naujawan Ko Deka Tha Joe Linda K Jism K Koribi Tha Magar Washaks Kabib Chana Nahigaya Tino Sal Tatakika At Jarirahi Fear 1986 Main Ek or Tragedy Hui 15 Salki Don Ashworth Enderby Leicestershire Main Ready Theapni Walladane or by Andrew Kasoth Wo Drawing Main Mahia The or Newsagent Ki Dukan Main Part-Time Karti The 31 July 1986 Kodani4badge.com say Nico Kar Nabro Main Apni Duske Garjon Care Radakia or 7 Badge Garane Kawadakia Yusakri Martaba Jam 4:40 menit PM Par Gari Chalet Logo Ni Dekatha King Edward Avenue Kapas Jam 7:30 menit PM Ta Donga Ayapte Usqualadane Fikaman Hokar Nabro Main Talosh Khan Lage Leakin Kuch Nahi Mila 9:40 PM Par Police KO Report Kia Gaya Kuch Dinboard Police Near Dan Kajism 10 Pound Lane Kapos Ket Main Paya US Par Biha Hua Tha or use Gutni Say Ma Dia Gaya Tha Danka Jism Sabi Wohi Mardana DNA Milajo Linda K Katel Ka Thao Dono Germ Footpaths Par Hu Dono Ladkian Naujawan Thin or Akili Chal Rocky Thin Dono Ko Muktalef Halat Main Paya Gaya Leakin Dono Kahanjam Ek Tha Linda or Dan Dono Lutterworth Grammar School or Community College Main Potty Thin 10 Pound Lane K Karib Police Ni Mobile Incident Room Lagaya Jahan Se Gaon Wallen or Guzarta Logon sa Malumat Ikati Kigayi Police Ni 200 Se Ziada Calls or Kai Logan Key Visits Receive Key Sabse Promising Lead EK Motorcycle Key Thi Joe Motorway Bridge Key Niche Kadith Kai reports main Eklal crash helmet Walla Jawan Deka Gaya Tha 5 Baija Kaspaz USS Jaga the 1st of August Jabdan Gaya Dade EK policewoman or detective Nia Slaw motorcycle or helmet Walla Jawan search main Dilchaspi Decate DEKHA.EK police Constable Joe security duty Partha US Carlton Hayes Hospital KA17 Sol K Kitchen Portamilla Ya Wo Psychiatric Hospital Tha Joe Dono Germ K Karib Tha Kitchen Porta Ni Bataya Kyosandan Kos Din Chalti Hui Deka Tha Constable Nibad Mainas Seo Bot Khan Kawada Kia Kuchwacked bod kitchen porter k dust say incident room ko malumat milli. Dust vacation pa thajab dan gaya bhui likin wo hospital gaya. Apni tankwa liak kitchen porter nirot 10 bajas bataya k dan kagizam M1 bridge k karib jodi. Main milahai dusky walid nijab the bot suni tapuchaki ya malumat kahan say milli. Kayan K Don K Bari Main TV Pa Kuchnahi Aya Kitchen Porter adalah kriptik jawab dia ke kisi ni majah bataya. Hai asal main don ka jizem pet se latak rahatha tha likan pulis ni kaha ki wo jodian ki nich chupatha gate ka andar jese 10 pound lane ket semilti ti. Yeah, M1 bridge say 10-minute key pedal dori partha. Karan walon kohairani hui ke kitchen porter kapasit ni. Sari malumat 12 konti say pehel hai ke ti. Jab police niabi jism. Dundasharu kiathar. Jab investigators ni asab. Malumat ko samja to us kitchen porter kagar jakar usage after car liya. Kitchen porter kanam Richard Buckland tha. Use Wigston police station Lajaya Gaya Jahan Uska interrogation Hua Buckland ni mutanazir. Bayanot die. Magaris bot kai krakia, ko sandon kous, din deka or us apni rumbles, kaz, eri bot bki, ek dafa usn tamam germ q, kia maga fia fatafat use wapas lalea teasri interrogation main bucklan ni itni tafsilat, say germ koas sahat ki goas whacked public nahi the, jisasun karsab hiran, ray gay, Richard Buckland k trial, say pahal, don Ashworth, ko, usk, Kachot say Cabristan Main for Houghton bod defan Kiag, Ya Cabristan St. John Baptist Church Kapich Tha, Enderby Main Vicar Ni Dan Koek, Zinda Deal Piari or Apni Walladane Kibari Wafadar Laki Karar Dia 200 Logas, Dian Uski Janib say farewell Ken Ki Lai Cabristan A Tekika AB Richard, Buckland K Kilaf Sabut Jamakar Rahithi or Tab Unhone DNA testing K Bari Main Suna. Jotab Nai Technology Thi Dano Germ K Sabut DNA K Lai Ek Jawan Geneticist Ko Bejge. Wo, Leicestershire University Main Kam Kata Tha or Dawa Kata Tha Ku, Usnek Asinek, Azim Nai Koj Kihai Jais Genetic Fingerprinting Ket Hain, Ya Geneticist Dr. Alec Jeffries Tha Dr. Jeffries Ko, Sharu Main Yakin Nahi Tha Ku, Wo Kam Ka. Payega Joe investigators Chait the Kunk is Tarike Key analysis Pahel Kabi Nahi Ki Gay Ki Thi USN Peli Mataba Apni Technique immigration case or fear paternity dispute main use key. Ya Peli Dafa Thaki is Naya technology ko. Ekgerm K case main cattle ki shanokt K liastamal kia Yarahatha sab ko hirat huijab. DNA tests K. Nutage AN2 Patachala K Richard Buckland Baguna Hai Nahai USN Linda Ko Mara or Nahai Dan Ko Leakin. Dr. Jeffries K tests ni ekbot to sobikar DK dono germ ekhai ordmi niki the. Richard Buckland Kocha Diagaya or Wo Pelashaks Bonajai say DNA profiling ki mudid say Sofkara Diagaya Inspector Derek Pierce adalah takika at Kizimadari Sambali. USN Public say II 1800 messages pa Nazar Dolly. Unmain say EC message main ECR Zika. Jiska Nam Paho Lindemann K case main AACA case main AACAC USA ADMI power flashing ku Ilzam Tha or Uska alibi Binahitha Lakin Pahol K inquiry main Pata Chala Tha K wo Odmigon main Linda K Kotel K Ek Mahin Bod Aya Tha Islai Use Sheikh Ki Neza say Nahi Deka Goya Tha Police Ko Joe message mil a US main Lika Tha Ki Obko Little Thorpe K Ek Admi Colin Pitchfork Pa Nazar Rakni Chahai is Alake main in sorry and alibide mard mojud thay ki investigators ni Faisla Kia Ki, DNA tests Karwain Ki AK Naya Tarika at Niaj, Unhone Faisla Kia K Gowan Kehar and alibide mard, Jinki Uma 17, Sitigapulum Pat Sol Kadarmian Ho, Sihut Sakun or saliva K samples Lijang Jia Plan the 2nd of January 1987 KO Public KO Bata Diagea. Derek Pierce Ko Umid Nahi Thi K Cattle Kude Car Test Digga Magar Ankamana Tha Kashiad Ya Kisi Terra Yusa Sam Lasake Januari Kakir Ta Seribu Marden adalah tes dia Magar Surf Chotahisa Klirwa Forensic Lapar Kam Kaboj Itna Bad Gaya K Testing Main Ziada Waklonya Ka Indicia Tha Jo Pehel Domahin Bataya Gaya Tha Meta 365 Tiga Maredon adalah tes di Leakinsurf 2000 KO High Eliminate Kia Jasaka Fear the 18th of September 1987 KO Wokul Haijis Ka Intezarta Ek Aurat adalah Bataya ke Leicester ke Clarendon Pub Main Ek Group of Daston Kedarmian Ek apsosnak guftagusuni. Ekmard, Ian Kelly ni laudawars main kahaki usanapni dus Colin pitchfork ki terofse blood test. Dear hi. Police ni pitchfork ki file check ki jizmi. Uska flashing women ki a record tha. Saat haan han dehaka uska signature jogar par blood. Sampolin ke wakt liagaya. Us dindai gay signature say match. Nahi karta. Colin pitchfork. Joek bakery main calm kartatha or apnea affairs Kalai Mashur, K Soth retatha. The 19th of September 1987 Ko Derek Pierce, Ian Kelly, Kagargaya Tokkutsawalatkari, Ian B. Baker, Sao Colin K. Soth Konkartatha Shurumain, Ian Nian Kar Kia Kyosen Pitchfork Ki Terif Say Blood Test Dia, Magarbod Main, Ikra Kar Liya. Ian Ni Pierce Ko Bataya Ki Pitchfork Ni Kaha Kiwo Islai Test Dina Chata Hai Kyung. Police USA Linda or Dan Kajerm Kashaki Samji Giesk Flashing Karekad Ki Wajase. Pitchfork, Ek Mahia Chalak, Odmi Tha Jin Ian Ko Convince Kia Tha Wo, Usk Lai Test De UC Din Detective, Mick Thomas Ki, Team Pitchfork Ki Gage, Unhon CD Bot Kahi Hamain, Yakin Hai K Opton Ashworth K Kotal Hain Hum Samashte Hain Kikisi or Neop K Badal Blood Sample Di Hai Op K Go Jaraftar Kar Rahahun, Colin Pitchfork Nian Kar Nahi Kia, Usk Chera Adla, Subkuch, Bayan, Kardiath, Usan Bataya K Usan. Apni Passport Main, Ian Kelly, Ki Tasver, Dolithi, Tokshake Naho, Job Carol, Pitchfork, Kokba Tayagaya. Tuwo, Apni Shohar Parlotten or Makshalan Logi. Investigators Ko use Rockna Main Der Logi Police Station Main Pitchfork Ni Pehol Bataya K USN Lindemon Ko Kia Kia Uska Planned Surf Flashing Ko Kia Magajab USN Socha K. Linda use Pechen Liji use Pechen Liji Derm Kbod Pitchfork Apni. Kaki Terif Gaya Jahan Uska or Carol Kabaka, Seat Main Tha USN Fia Bataya Kdan Ashworth K Sath Biwahi Kuchhua, Dono Germ, Same Tariq Se Waithe, USN Bataya Kwo Jantatha Kakai, Kaya Karahai, Leakin Kud, Ko Rock, Nahisaka, Pitchfork Niabi Kahaki, USN Ian Kelly, Ki Zindagi Kuchish Kitok Wo Chuprehi, Magarusk Plans Hamisha Fail Hoge. The 22nd of January 1988, Ko 28 Salve. K. Colin Pitchfork, K. Trial, Leicester Crown Court Main Hua, Ian Kelly, Ko 18 Mahaney, Ki Suspended Saza Di Gai, Jiska Matlab Sak Usai Jail Nahi Jana Padega. Ian adalah media kasamne kaha, Main Galat Kia or Joby Mirawaja, Say Paresian Hua, USA, Mafi Chatahun, Colin Pitchfork, Jeans or short-sleeved shirt Main Th. USN Lindemann or Don Ashworth, Don Okimot Ka Ikra, KIYA.US, A double life sentence DGUA. Investigator Heranthe Ki Judge Ni Minimum Term Ki Koi Recommendation Nahi D. Jiskiwaja Se Pitchfork Sapulu Ya 12 Salmain Riha Ho Shakta THA. Police. Is Faisley Pargu's main The. Lindemon case stepfather Eddie Eastwood Ni Kaha Pitchfork Ni Mudges Unkan Main Onkandol Kardeka Highs Ki Raha Hoke Maslahai Uska Chehra Lakbek Insanith. Linda Kima Kathleen Ni Kaha Keas Shaki Waja Se Wo Court Main Nahi Deka Jabonhin Linda K Marias Halad K. Tasovier. Dikai Ge Nun Ka Kena. Wo Kabi B Sarik Panahi. Chalna Chahi Use Fancy Milni Chahi. DNA genetic fingerprint. Kiwa jasa ajinsaan ko dosh sabit hon kabet masum sabit. Karna mushkil hogaya hai. Jab sop hatam watu investigators kapas. Exawel thak here Richard Buckland, Nietni, Tafsilat, Germ ki sinki, Kase Jonin. Yamana jota hai ki Buckland stindan kajism deka hoga jab wokom pa ya rahatha use goan ka idiot kaha jota tha or shayad ic waja se usan germ ka ikra kia tha. Lindemann or Don Ashworth ki kcs ko DNA technology ki taraki. Main ek body waja samja jeta hayaj hazaran purain germ halho chukain Dr. Alec Jeffries ki waja se. Debbie and Dudley Davis were born in Lynchburg, Virginia, on July 15, 1952. After a brief marriage that ended in divorce, Debbie followed her cousin Judy Fisk to Richmond, Virginia, moving into an apartment on Devonshire Street in the Westover Hills neighborhood. In 1985, Debbie began working as the accounts manager for Style Weekly, a Richmond-based media outlet. A pop culture enthusiast, she enjoyed Bruce Springsteen records and even appeared as an extra in the HBO movie Finnegan Begin Again. Debbie was also an avid mystery novel reader and worked a few nights a week at the Walden Bookstore in Chesterfield, County's Cloverleaf Mall. On the evening of September 18, 1987, Debbie and her co-worker Deanna Hoff took a road trip to Virginia Beach to see a performance by Dana Carvey. After the show, Deanna dropped Debbie at her apartment and waited to see her safely inside. Little did she know it would be the last time she ever saw her alive. The next morning, Arnold Ellis noticed a Renault Alliance car parked outside his home with the motor running and keys in the ignition but no driver. Recognizing the car belonged to Debbie, police were called. An officer knocked on Debbie's door with no answer, so an elderly neighbor provided a key. Inside they found Debbie's body face down on her bed. She was topless, wearing only a pair of cut-off jean shorts. Her right arm was tied behind her back with thick bootlaces, and her left arm was bound beneath her. A black sock was tightly twisted around her neck. She had been strangled and assaulted. Investigators found that the perpetrator had stolen a rocking chair from a nearby porch and propped it outside Debbie's kitchen window to gain entry. On her nightstand lay the mystery novel Presumed Innocent, which featured a storyline about a woman being tied up and killed. Detective Ray Williams said the crime suggested a smart, experienced offender, as no fingerprints or witnesses were found, and nothing was stolen. Very seldom does a crook do that kind of damage and spend that much time with his victim and not leave a bunch of clues, Williams said, but he left nothing. Lorna Wyckoff, founder of Style Weekly, posted a $10,000 reward for information, leading to an arrest. Investigators reviewed people in Debbie's life but found no clear suspect. Debbie led a quiet life. She was not dating, hadn't seen her ex-husband in years, did not use drugs, and didn't frequent bars. Just 2 weeks later, tragedy struck again in Richmond. Susan Elizabeth Helms was born on February 6, 1955, in Charleston, South Carolina. She moved to Richmond to work on her neurosurgery residency at the Medical College of Virginia. Susan married Marcel Slag, and they bought a house in the Woodland Heights neighborhood of Richmond on October 3, 1987. Marcel arrived home at 1:45 a.m. Upon entering, he heard movement upstairs. Assuming it was Susan, who had worked late after showering, he quietly entered their dark bedroom, where he saw a horrific scene. Susan's partially nude body was lying half out of the closet. A red leather belt was wrapped around her neck, and her hands were bound tightly behind her back with an extension cord and a neck to just like Debbie. Susan had been assaulted and strangled. Their bedroom window was wide open. Detective Ray Williams, working both cases, believed the perpetrator was still in the house when Marcel arrived. Outside the window, investigators found an open Vaseline jar traced to a store near Cloverleaf Mall. However, this lead went nowhere. Realizing a serial offender was on the loose, fear gripped the Richmond community, and demands for police action intensified. Williams tirelessly investigated and discovered an intriguing clue: a check written by Susan and endorsed on the back by Debbie, found while examining financial records at the Walden bookstore where Debbie worked part-time. It was unclear if this was coincidence or a link between the crimes. While Williams pondered this, another horrifying crime occurred in the Richmond area. Diane Cho was born in Korea in 1972 and immigrated to the United States in 1984 at 15. Diane was a freshman at Manchester High School and took care of much of her household, as her parents spoke little English. In October 1987, Diane confided in a friend about a disturbing recurring nightmare involving an unknown man who followed her. She also told friends she occasionally saw this man at the mall. One night in November 1987, Diane went to see The Princess Bride at the Cloverleaf Mall Theater with a friend. During the movie, she began trembling and pointed out her stalker, who was staring at them from the parking lot. It had been just 5 months since Diane's family moved to Richmond, where her parents ran a convenience store near Virginia Commonwealth University. It is unclear if Diane ever told her parents about this encounter. On the night of November 21, 1987, Diane's parents returned home around 9 p.m. Her mother gave her a haircut, and as they went to bed around midnight, they heard Diane typing an English paper in her bedroom across the hall. The next day, Diane's parents called around 2 p.m. to remind the children to get ready for church. Diane's 12-year-old brother, Roman, answered the phone and said Diane was still asleep. He didn't want to wake her. About an hour later, Diane's mother arrived home and went straight to check on her daughter. In Diane's bedroom, her mother opened the door and screamed. Diane was tied up with rope, strangled and assaulted, her bedroom window left open. The pattern was chillingly clear. This was the fourth attack in a series. In November 1987, 44-year-old Sue Tucker lived in Arlington County, Virginia. She worked as an editor for a Department of Agriculture magazine. Her husband, Reg Tucker, a former photographer for Fairfax County Public Schools, had taken a job as a photography teacher in Wales earlier that year. Sue was preparing their home for sale and winding down her work projects, planning to join Reg overseas. Ironically, they wanted to leave the U.S. due to rising crime and violence. Sue's neighbor, Audrey Sislove, hadn't been able to reach her for days and noticed Sue's bedroom window was open. When Audrey tried to check on her friend inside, she smelled the foul odor of rotting flesh and called the police. Officers found Sue's badly decomposed body spread across her bed. She had been tightly bound with nylon ropes, strangled and assaulted. There were no fingerprints. The perpetrator had broken in through a small basement laundry window. Oddly, before leaving, he took the time to fix a snack, leaving a partially eaten orange on the dining room table. While investigating, police received a call from Reg Tucker, who had been trying to contact his wife. They had to deliver the devastating News Arlington investigators quickly realized the crime resembled a January 1984 murder of 32-year-old attorney Caroline Ham, whose body was found near Sue's home. David Vasquez, a fast food worker with a low IQ, had confessed and was serving 35 years for Ham's murder. But if Vasquez was in prison, who was committing these identical crimes? Detective Joe Horgus, leading Sue Tucker's case, interviewed Vasquez and quickly concluded he was innocent. Meanwhile, investigators in Arlington and Richmond noticed a disturbing trend. Richmond had a serial offender attacking women in 1987, and Arlington had experienced a similar maniac in 1983-1984. The attacks began in Arlington County's Green Valley area in June 1983. A knife-wielding black man in his late teens or early 20s, wearing a homemade mask, abducted and assaulted women. Over 7 months, his attacks escalated. He abducted women from their cars, entered homes through unlocked windows, and brutally assaulted 9 women. He tied some with nylon cords cut from Venetian blinds. In January 1984, an Arlington woman returned home to find the cords of her Venetian blinds cut and laid out on her bed, suggesting the intruder had been waiting for her and left in frustration. 4 days later, Caroline Ham was found bound and strangled in her garage. Police arrested Vasquez, but victims' descriptions never matched him. The attacks stopped until Sue Tucker's murder. After Sue's death, detectives received information from Richmond police about the strangulations of Debbie Davis, Susan Helms, and Diane Cho, all following a similar modus operandi. The cases appeared connected, possibly including Caroline Ham's murder. The investigation stalled as detectives studied timelines showing crimes clustered in 1983-1984, then resurfacing in 1987. The FBI believed the killer hadn't stopped by choice but likely jailed for another offense during the gap. Detectives considered possible suspects and focused on Tommy Spencer, a teenager arrested for burglary in the mid-1970s. Spencer was arrested in January 1984 for break-ins in Alexandria and paroled to a halfway house in Richmond in 1987 just before Debbie Davis was murdered. Investigators found Spencer signed himself out each evening a crime occurred. He was furloughed to Arlington on the day Sue Tucker was killed, under surveillance. Plainclothes officers noted Spencer violated parole by staying overnight at his girlfriend's home and spending hours at Cloverleaf Mall, linked to Debbie, Susan, and Diane's cases. On January 20, 1988, Arlington and Richmond detectives arrested Spencer and collected a blood sample, with no witnesses, fingerprints, or other direct evidence. Law enforcement relied on a new forensic method, DNA fingerprinting, though previously used in one UK cold case, the murders of Linda Mon and Don Ashworth. It was never before applied. In the US, after over 6 weeks, a private New York lab confirmed Spencer's DNA matched evidence from the crime scenes. The male DNA found at the crime scenes of Debbie Davis, Dr. Susan Helms, Sue Tucker, and several assault victims in Arlington and Richmond was linked to Timothy Spencer. Spencer became known as the Southside Strangler. He went on trial in July 1988, and after a 6-day trial, he was found guilty. This marked the first conviction in the United States based on DNA evidence. Spencer received multiple life sentences. But what about Caroline Ham and David Vasquez? Why was Vasquez convicted of Ham's murder, despite not matching the descriptions given by victims in the area? Vasquez initially became a suspect because Caroline Ham complained about him peeping on her while she sunbathed in the week before her death. Due to his low IQ, investigators were able to coerce a false confession from him, feeding him all the details which he then parroted back. After DNA linked Timothy Spencer to all the other crimes, doubts grew about Vasquez's involvement. DNA evidence ultimately proved Vasquez innocent, and he was released, becoming the first person in the United States exonerated through DNA testing. On April 27, 1994, shortly before 11 p.m., Timothy Wilson Spencer was executed in Virginia's infamous electric chair known as Old Sparky at Greensville Correctional Center, finally ending his reign of terror. Now shifting focus to another case. Catherine Louise Martin, known as Kathy, was born on October 25, 1959. She met Mike Odom in high school when they were 16. They dated for some time and planned to marry. However, Mike was arrested for selling heroin to an undercover officer, sentenced to 6 years but served only 2. Kathy remained determined to marry him upon his release, which they did, eventually having 2 children, Tasha and Sean. They lived in Harris County, Texas, where Kathy's father, Frankie Martin, gave Mike a job at his sign business. Kathy was described as a loving mother who would do anything for her children. But tragedy struck on the night of March 3, 1987. Mike, out of town for work, tried calling Kathy but received no answer. Alarmed, he called their next-door neighbor to check on the family. The neighbor found no response at the door but spotted the TV still on through the window. Instead of calling police immediately, the neighbor drove into town, found an officer, and returned together. The officer found the front door unlocked and inside the living room sofa, they discovered Tasha badly beaten and unconscious but alive. 2-month-old Sean was unharmed in his bedroom and Kathy in Mike's bedroom. Officers found Kathy's battered naked body covered in blood. She had been stabbed over 16 times, strangled, assaulted, and her wrists were bound with a lamp cord. Police feared the perpetrator might return to harm Tasha, Kathy's father. Frankie was sent to the hospital to be with the children. Meanwhile, Mike arrived and drew officers' attention due to red stains on his shirt resembling blood. A search of the house revealed blood in the bathroom, suggesting the killer might have attempted to clean up before leaving. There were no signs of forced entry, indicating Kathy knew her attacker personally. The excessive stabbing indicated a crime of passion. Kathy's neatly folded clothes on the floor suggested the attacker might have assaulted Tasha to get Kathy to cooperate. At the hospital, Tasha remained in critical condition, comatose and on IVs. Investigators focused on Mike, who appeared emotional but was soon viewed with suspicion. His alibi didn't hold up. He hadn't gone straight home from work but had spent time with friends. This matched a pattern where perpetrators arranged for someone else to check on the victim. Forensic tests on Mike's clothing and the neighbor Tim Robinson's car floor revealed suspicious stains. It seemed Mike and Tim conspired in the crime. Mike might have been using drugs or seeking insurance money. However, a twist emerged. The medical examiner estimated Kathy's death occurred about 6 hours before discovery around 1 p.m. Both Mike and Tim claimed to be at work. Then 4-year-old Tasha awoke from her coma and identified a man with yellow hair entering the house. Neither Mike nor Tim matched that description. Forensic tests showed the stains on Tim's car were motor oil and the stains on Mike's shirt were paint. Both men had solid alibis and passed polygraph tests, so they were ruled out. Investigators then turned their attention to Kathy's sister, Shelley Martin. Shelley was married to Greg Marquette. She met Greg through Mike. Greg and Mike had a history together from the drug scene. Shelley and Kathy both struggled with addiction, as did Greg and Mike. Shelley and Greg married in 1983, when she was 16 and he was 25, a significant age gap and a potential red flag. Both Shelley and Greg were known to steal from her parents for money. Greg, raised by a wealthy aunt and uncle, had his own troubled history. The Martins agreed not to press charges against Greg and Shelley for past thefts, hoping it would help keep the family intact. While Mike and Kathy had turned their lives around, Greg and Shelley continued a cycle of criminal behavior, frequently going in and out of jail. Shortly before Kathy's murder, she confided in a friend that Greg and Shelley had recently visited her home. While Shelley was in another room with the baby, Greg had made unwanted advances toward Kathy, which she firmly rejected. When questioned, Greg claimed that during the times he was not with his wife on the day of the crime, he was with a man named Hampton Robinson III. Interestingly, Robinson was connected to Charles Harrelson, the father of actor Woody Harrelson, who had been convicted of murdering a judge in 1982. Robinson had testified against Harrelson at his trial. Investigators found Greg's fingerprints and hair throughout Kathy's house, but as a family member who had been there many times, this was not definitive evidence. Kathy's parents believed Greg was responsible. Frankie Martin recalled receiving a suspicious late-night call from the hospital where Tasha was being treated. Greg and Shelley had tried to visit at 3 a.m., but Frankie told hospital staff not to admit them due to his suspicions. Tasha's grandmother, Charlene Martin, was present and remembered that Tasha became visibly frightened when Greg appeared and he was ordered to leave. When asked if she had seen Greg during the attack, Tasha was unable to remember due to her head injury despite investigators' efforts during interviews. Greg denied involvement but oddly admitted to an attraction to Kathy, particularly fixating on her stomach, a detail Kathy had mentioned to friends. Notably, Kathy was stabbed mainly in the stomach during the attack. Greg's behavior was suspicious. During one interview, he abruptly left, saying he needed to feed a parking meter, but never returned. He also refused a polygraph test. Shelley, it stated that Greg drove her to school at 10:30 a.m. and picked her up at 2:30 p.m. on the day of the murder, leaving a 4-hour window that matched the estimated time of Kathy's death around 1 p.m. Pool opportunity for Greg to commit the crime. With the time, DNA testing was not widely available. Investigators relied on serology blood typing, which only narrowed suspects down to broad groups. Kathy's blood type matched Greg's type O, but since about 50% of the population shares that type, it was not enough to prove guilt. Without more evidence, the case went cold, leaving Frankie devastated. On 1998, a cold case team reopened Kathy's case. Advances in DNA technology now allowed profiles to be generated from older biological evidence. Tests showed Greg Marquardt belonged to the 2% of the population whose DNA could have matched the crime scene, a far more precise figure than before, but still not definitive. Greg claimed he had a consensual affair with Kathy and said he was with her the morning she was attacked, insisting she was alive when he left. Investigators didn't believe him but lacked enough proof to arrest him to break the case. Investigators reached out to Catherine Long of Cellmark, a private forensic lab in Dallas, Texas. Catherine devised an innovative approach. She and her colleagues simulated strangulation on each other to test whether skin cells were transferred during such an attack. They discovered a significant amount of skin cells could indeed be left on the victim. This discovery opened the door for a new type of forensic evidence, giving hope that Kathy's killer might finally be brought to justice. In Kathy's evidence file was an item that potentially contained the perpetrator's skin cells, the electrical cord used to bind her hands. Remarkably, the cord had been stored in a paper bag rather than plastic. The paper bag's breathability kept moisture away, preserving the DNA much better than plastic would have. The cord was stained with blood, so investigators carefully swabbed it to gather every possible trace of evidence. Testing revealed two genetic profiles, Kathy Odom's and Greg Marquardt's. The presence of Marquardt's DNA on the cord could only mean one thing: he was the perpetrator. On December 18, 2002, Greg Marquardt was arrested and charged with Kathy's murder. While in prison, he confessed to a fellow inmate that he had been high on heroin when he drove to Kathy's house that day. Once inside, he made unwanted advances which Kathy rejected. To force her compliance, he struck her daughter Tasha repeatedly on the head and threatened her son Sean's life. In an effort to save her children, Kathy complied. Marquardt then cut the electrical cord from a lamp and bound Kathy's hands before assaulting and ultimately killing her. Afterward, he cleaned up in the bathroom and changed into Mike Odom's clothing, unaware that advances in DNA technology would one day identify him as the killer. 6 months after his arrest, Greg's wealthy aunt passed away, leaving him hundreds of thousands of dollars in partial ownership of her home. The Martins filed a lawsuit against him, tying up the estate and preventing him from using those funds for his defense. In 2004, Marquardt pled guilty to all charges and was sentenced to 45 years in prison. He died of liver disease in 2008 at age 56. Sergeant Roger Wedsworth remarked, "Couldn't happen to a nicer guy." Shelley, Greg's wife, and her parents lost contact after the crime. She sided with Greg, believing in his innocence for a long time. Years later, the Martins moved to Oklahoma. Eventually, Shelley reconciled with her parents and also relocated there. Kathy's father, Frankie, said, "It doesn't bring Kathy back. I will always remember her, the house she put together, and the things we did. It's always tough to lose a child." Now, shifting to a different case, Raina Risen was born on May 6, 1976, in LaPorte, Indiana. She lived with her parents, Ben and Karen Risen, and had 2 sisters, Lori, her older sister, and Wendy, her younger sister. By 1993, 16-year-old Raina was a good student, aspiring to become a veterinarian due to her deep compassion for animals. Besides attending LaPorte High School as a sophomore, she held 3 jobs, including working at an animal hospital where she walked dogs and cleaned kennels. On Friday, March 26, 1993, Raina was assigned to close the animal hospital after a shift from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. that evening. She planned to spend time with her ex-boyfriend, Matt Elser. The two had recently broken up, and this date was a step toward possibly reconciling. Matt, regarded as a decent young man from a good family, arrived at the animal hospital at 6 p.m. to pick Raina up. Finding the lights off and the door closed, he noticed Raina's car was missing. Concerned, he drove to her home, but Raina was not there. Her family assumed she was out with Matt but grew worried when she failed to return. Raina's parents, her younger sister Wendy, and Matt waited for her at home. By 10:30 p.m., with no sign of Raina, her family reported her missing to the police. Due to protocol, the police only officially registered the missing person report after 24 hours, but they circulated her photo immediately, urging the public to help. Multiple eyewitnesses reported seeing a sedan parked outside the animal hospital shortly before 6 p.m. They described seeing 2 men and Raina in the vehicle, noting that she appeared to be arguing with them initially. Witnesses dismissed it as a couple's quarrel. Investigators questioned Matt Elser, who maintained his story of waiting for Raina at the hospital. Police learned that Matt had previously wanted a break in their relationship, but they had recently reconciled and were both looking forward to the date Raina's parents vouched for Matt's character and pointed out that his car did not match the sedan seen by witnesses, clearing him of suspicion. The night after Raina's disappearance, her car was found nearby with the hood raised, suggesting possible car trouble. Officers were able to start the vehicle using her keys, which remained in the ignition. It appeared as though Raina's car breakdown was staged. Moreover, officers noticed her handbag was still inside the car, containing her purse, credit cards, and all her money, indicating robbery was not the motive. A man's ring was found in the glove compartment. When shown to Matt Elser, Raina's ex-boyfriend and date that night, he said it wasn't his. He identified the ring as belonging to Jason Tibbs, another ex-boyfriend of Raina's from 7th grade. Jason had a criminal history and had dropped out of school. Police questioned 16-year-old Jason Tibbs, who admitted the ring was his and asked where it had been found. When told it was in Raina's car, Jason said they were still friends and that he had done some work on the car, likely forgetting his ring in the glove box. He explained he removed the ring to protect it from grease while working. Locals vouched for Jason's skills as a mechanic, and it seemed plausible Raina had contacted him for help. When asked about his whereabouts on the night Raina disappeared, Jason claimed he was playing a game called Fox Hunting, a car-based hide-and-seek where players share locations over wireless radios. His friends confirmed they played that evening, but none had actually seen Jason. Raina's father confirmed she and Jason were friends. So the ringleader went cold. The case began to stagnate until a LaPorte sheriff's deputy found Matt L's Letterman jacket about 6 or 7 miles from where Rayna's car was found. Rayna had last been seen wearing it, symbolizing they were together. Unfortunately, the jacket yielded no further evidence. On April 26, 1993, about a month after Rayna vanished, a fisherman's teenage daughter spotted human legs in a pond north of LaPorte, Indiana. The father confirmed it was a female body. Police noted the clothing matched what Rayna wore when last seen. Despite advanced decomposition, the body was identified as Rayna Risen. No obvious wounds were found, but the autopsy later concluded Rayna had been strangled. Investigators revisited Jason Tibbs, who told them about Ray McCarty, Rayna's older sister Lori's husband. Ray had assaulted and impregnated Rayna when she was 11 and had been imprisoned for the crime, with his probation ending only 2 months before Rayna's disappearance. Despite this, Lori and Ray remained married. Ray McCarty became a prime suspect when questioned. He and Lori said they did not see Rayna on the day she disappeared. Ray claimed he was shooting pigeons on a friend's farm that night. The friend confirmed this alibi, yet something felt off. When interviewed alone, Ray admitted he had seen Rayna that evening at about 5:40 p.m., watching from a house he was inspecting. He said he briefly saw Rayna in the animal hospital parking lot and asked if she knew where Lori was. He also admitted to picking up a female hitchhiker later that night, which explained why he initially withheld that information. Because of what he'd done to Rayna before, Lori didn't fully trust him. Despite this, no physical evidence tied Ray to the crime, and the case went cold. 18 months later, Indiana State Police pulled over a van driven by Larry Hall, who traveled the Midwest doing historical His van resembled one linked to an attempted kidnapping. Police found newspaper clippings about Rayna and a prescription bottle with her name inside. Hall confessed to abducting and killing Rayna and around 50 other women, but was found to be lying about Rayna's case. Hall was later convicted of murdering a different teenage girl, Jessica Roach. Rayna's case remained cold until 1998. Investigators re-examined initial suspects. Matt's alibi remained solid, and he was no longer a serious suspect. Jason's fox hunting story was weak, but he appeared to be on good terms with Rayna. Ray McCarty, however, had lied about his alibi and had a violent past, so focus returned to him. Police searched his property and found 2 handguns, a stun gun, and blood in his car trunk. They could not identify the blood source. Ray was arrested in May 1998 and spent 15 months in jail as the police built their case. However, a new prosecutor, an avid hunter, concluded the blood was from a deer. With insufficient evidence, Ray was released after a year in jail. For the next 9 years, the case was once again cold until 2008, when an inmate serving a 40 sentence sent a letter to the police that would change everything. The inmate's name was Ricky Hammonds. He requested to speak with investigators while serving time for killing his roommate. Ricky said he decided to come forward after thinking about his niece, saying, "I would want someone to come forward if anything happened to her." Here is everything he shared back in 1993, when he was just 14 years old. Ricky was on the roof of a barn next to his parents' house smoking marijuana. He heard a car arrive and saw his sister's boyfriend, Eric Feldman, and Jason Tibbs. They opened the trunk of his sister's sedan, and Ricky saw a body covered by a blanket. Though mostly covered, he could make out the upper half of a female wearing a Letterman jacket. He did not realize it was Rayna at the time, but a few days later, when her face appeared on the news, he connected the dots. Ricky said he was too scared to come forward in 1993 because he feared getting in trouble for smoking marijuana. Police tracked Eric Feldman down in South Carolina. He was visibly nervous and initially refused all interviews. Investigators assured him he would face no consequences if he told them exactly what happened to Rayna. Eric then agreed to talk and revealed everything. Eric said that on March 26, 1993, he and Jason were driving around with Eric's girlfriend, Sudan. They passed the animal hospital where Rayna worked. Jason wanted to convince Rayna to leave Matt and get back together with him. When Rayna exited the animal hospital, Jason called her over. She clearly didn't want to talk, but before she could scream, Jason pushed her into the car and told Eric to drive away quickly. A few minutes later, Eric stopped the car. Rayna tried to run, but Jason followed and said, "If I can't have you, no one can." He then strangled her until she stopped breathing. Jason and Eric loaded Rayna's body into the trunk and drove to the barn where Ricky saw them. After some discussion, Eric and Jason decided to dump Rayna's body in a pond, weighing it down with logs. Eric drove Jason back to the animal hospital to pick up Rayna's car, which Jason then abandoned. He also discarded Matt's jacket. In August 2013, 38-year-old Jason Tibbs was arrested and charged with the murder of Rayna Risen 20 years after her life was taken. His trial began in late 2013. Jason's defense argued that Ricky was not a credible witness. He was just a teenager at the time and had waited 15 years to come forward. To ensure Eric Feldman's truthful testimony, prosecutors granted him immunity from prosecution. After a lengthy trial that lasted until December 2014, Jason Tibbs was found guilty and sentenced to 40 years in prison, with 20 years credited for time served. Outside the courtroom, Raina's family wept and embraced the prosecutor. They finally had some measure of justice, though the daughter they lost to a crime of passion would never return. Jason Tibbs still maintains his innocence, claiming Ray McCarty is responsible for what happened to Raina. He has made numerous appeals to the Indiana Supreme Court, but after being rejected by the state's appellate court, on September 8, 2016, the Indiana Court of Appeals ruled against his request for a new trial. As recently as 2018, his lawyers publicly stated they continue fighting for his innocence. Raina was just 16 years old. With her whole life ahead of her, she had found happiness again with Matt, but sadly, she was surrounded by dangerous people who let her down. Jessica Roach's case. 15-year-old Jessica Roach lived in Georgetown, Illinois in 1993. She dreamed of one day becoming a pilot. On September 20, 1993, Jessica went outside to ride her new bicycle. Tragedy struck soon after when her sister found the bike lying on the road, but Jessica was nowhere to be found. The sister alerted their father, who contacted the police. Jessica would never be seen alive again. 6 weeks later, her remains were found in Parisville, Indiana, near the state border. A farmer discovered the body while using his combine. Due to the condition of her remains, it was difficult for investigators to determine when, how, or where she died. About a year later, police arrested Larry Hall after he was reported trailing two girls. The girls gave the police his license plate number. During questioning, Hall flinched and covered his face when shown a photo of Jessica. He denied ever seeing her, but eventually confessed to tying her up, though he could not remember what he used. He said he removed her clothing, assaulted her, and strangled her to death by a tree with his belt. Hall also admitted to abusing other young girls but couldn't recall details. While investigators determined he falsely confessed to many crimes, they confirmed he did murder Jessica. Larry Hall was sentenced to life in prison without parole. He is currently incarcerated in a medium-security prison in North Carolina. Jessica Roach's loved ones have held benefits in her memory over the years. In 2015, they established a scholarship in her name to honor her legacy.